Hi there! Let me walk you through everything you need to know about ClawdBot, which is now officially called Openclaw. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have your own AI assistant running 24/7, ready to handle real tasks. I've spent the last few weeks testing ClawdBot, and I want to show you exactly how to set it up step by step, how to configure it properly, the messaging platforms you can connect it to, and the real capabilities it has beyond just chatting. We'll cover what ClawdBot actually is and why it's different from regular AI chatbots. Whether you need special hardware, how to install and configure it from scratch, connecting it to messaging platforms, setting up the memory system, and the real-world tasks you can delegate to it. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have ClawdBot installed and running, and you'll understand how to integrate it into your workflow. Stick around, because I'll show you a setup tip that makes ClawdBot way more reliable, especially if you want it running 24/7. Alright, let's dive in. What is ClawdBot? Openclaw. So first, what exactly is ClawdBot, and why is everyone talking about it? ClawdBot is a self-hosted AI assistant that runs directly on your computer. Unlike ChatGPT or regular Claude that lives in your browser, ClawdBot runs locally on your machine, remembers everything from past conversations, and can actually execute tasks on your computer. What makes it even more powerful is that ClawdBot can read and create files, browse the web, run commands and scripts, integrate with tools like Notion, Google Docs, and Slack, and do all of this through simple text messages from whatever messaging app you prefer. Instead of copying and pasting between ChatGPT and your text editor, or explaining the same context repeatedly, you can just text your AI assistant and say, "Write this document," or "Research this topic," and create a summary, and it'll actually do it. The technical way to put it is, ClawdBot itself is just the agent running on your computer. It connects to AI providers like Anthropic and OpenAI through their APIs. So you're not running a large language model locally, just a lightweight agent that connects to cloud-based AI. This means ClawdBot doesn't use a ton of your computer's resources. The project started as ClawdBot, became Moltbot briefly, and now it's officially called Openclaw. You'll see all three names online, but they're the same project. I'll keep calling it ClawdBot since that's what most people know it as. Do you need special hardware? Before we proceed, let me clear up some confusion right away. You do not need a Mac Mini. You do not need any special hardware. ClawdBot runs on any modern computer, like Mac, Windows, or Linux. You may have seen videos where people set this up on Mac Minis. It's not necessary. Those are dedicated setups for people who want ClawdBot running 24/7 when their main computer is off. You can run ClawdBot on your main computer right now. The only downside is when you shut down your computer. ClawdBot stops running, which for most people starting out is fine. Test it on your main computer first. If after a week you're using it constantly and want 24/7 access, then consider a dedicated device. You can use an old laptop sitting in storage, get a cheap mini PC for $200, $300, set it up on a virtual private server if you're comfortable with that, or yes, get a Mac Mini if you want iMessage integration. Some people prefer Mac Minis for the iMessage integration. If you're deep in the Apple ecosystem, you need an Apple device for iMessage. But ClawdBot works perfectly with Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, Slack, and other platforms that work on any device. Point is, start with whatever computer you already have. Don't buy anything until you've tested it out. Costs involved. Now let's talk about money. ClawdBot, open source software, is completely free. What you pay for is the AI that powers it through API keys from Anthropic or OpenAI. If you use Claude Sonnet, expect $10 to $30 per month, depending on usage. Casual use sits on the lower end. Heavy daily use with complex tasks sits on the higher end. More powerful models like Claude Opus cost more per request but give better results. Budget models like HiQ cost less but struggle with complex tasks. You can simply switch between models depending on your needs. Good news is that you only pay for what you use, no monthly subscription. If you don't use it a lot, you don't pay a lot. Compared to hiring an assistant or paying for premium software subscriptions, it's incredibly cheap for what you get. Prerequisites and installation. All right, let's get into the actual setup. I'm going to walk you through this step by step and I'll explain what each part does so you're not just blindly copying commands. First, you'll need to make sure you have Node.js installed. ClawdBot is built on Node.js, so this is required. To check if you already have it, open your terminal and type node-version. If you see a version number like 18 or higher, you're good to go. If you don't have Node.js, or you need, head to nodejs.org and download the LTS version. LTS stands for long-term support, and it's the stable recommended version. Just download it, run the installer, and follow the prompts. It's a standard installation. Once Node.js is installed, close and reopen your terminal. This makes sure everything is loaded properly. Next, you'll need an API key from your AI provider. I'm going to show you how to get one from Anthropic if you use Claude. But the process is similar for OpenAI if you prefer ChatGPT. Head to console.anthropic.com in your browser. Sign in or create an account if you haven't already. Once you're logged in, click on API Keys in the sidebar, then click Create Key and give it a name like ClawdBot, so you remember what it's for. Copy that API key immediately. This is really important. Treat this like a password. Don't share it with anyone, don't post it online, and don't commit it to any public repositories. If someone gets your API key, they can use your account and you'll be charged for their usage. If you accidentally expose your key, just come back to this page, delete it, and create a new one. So keep it safe, but don't stress too much. Now we're ready to install ClawdBot. Go to the Openclaw website and you'll see a single line install command. It'll look something like curl -fssl https://openclaw.ai/install.sh bash or similar. Copy that command, open your terminal, and paste it in. Hit enter and let it run. The installer will check if you have Git and Node.js, and if anything's missing, it'll install those dependencies for you. Then, it'll download and install ClawdBot itself. This process usually takes about 1 to 3 minutes depending on your internet connection. You'll see a bunch of text scrolling by, showing you what's being installed. That's normal, just let it do its thing. Once the installation finishes, you should see a success message and ClawdBot will automatically launch the configuration wizard. Don't close your terminal, we're moving straight into setup. Lesson 2. Configuration and setup. Alright, the installation is done and now we're in the configuration phase. This is where you tell ClawdBot how you want it to work. The first prompt you'll see says something like, I understand this is powerful and inherently risky. Do you want to continue? Go ahead and type yes or Y and hit enter. This is just acknowledging that ClawdBot has access to your computer and can execute commands. Next, you'll be asked to choose an onboarding mode. You'll see options like Quick Start, Guided Setup, and Advanced Configuration. For your first time, go with Quick Start. This gets you up and running fast without overwhelming you with options. You can always change settings later. After that, you'll choose your AI provider. You'll see options for Anthropic, OpenAI, and maybe a few others. Since we grabbed a Claude API key earlier, select Anthropic. Use your arrow keys to highlight it and hit enter. Then select Anthropic API key and paste it in the key you copied earlier. You won't see it appear as you paste for security reasons, but it's there. Just hit enter. Now you'll choose a default model. Now this is important because different models have different capabilities and costs. You'll see options like Claude Opus 4.5, Claude Sonnet 4.5, and Claude Haiku 4.5. I'd recommend you start with Claude Sonnet 4.5. It's the balanced option. It's smart enough to handle complex tasks, and it's fast and it's cost effective. Opus is more powerful, but it costs significantly more. And Haiku is cheaper but struggles with complex reasoning. Sonnet is sort of the sweet spot for most people. Select Sonnet and hit enter. Remember, you can change this later if you want to try different models for different tasks. Lesson 3. Connecting messaging platforms. Next up is choosing how you'll communicate with ClawdBot. This is one of the most important decisions. Because you'll be using this interface constantly, you'll see options for Telegram, Slack, Discord, WhatsApp, iMessage, and several others. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you Telegram because it's simple, it's free, and it works on every platform, and a lot of people set it up specifically for their AI assistant without mixing it with personal chats. But the process is similar for other platforms. So if you prefer WhatsApp or Slack, you can follow along and adapt. Select Telegram from the list. ClawdBot will then ask you for a Telegram bot token. Now, if you've never created a Telegram bot before, don't worry, it's super easy. Open Telegram on your phone or computer and search for BotFather. This is Telegram's official bot for creating new bots. Start a chat with BotFather and send the command /newbot. BotFather will ask you to choose a name for your bot. This is the display name, so you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine Assistant, just to keep it simple. Type your chosen name and send it. Next, BotFather asks you for a username. This has to be unique and must end in bot, so you can do something like myassistant_bot or ClawdBot_assistant, or whatever you want. Type it and send it. If the username is available, BotFather will create your bot and give you a token. It'll be a long string of numbers and letters. Copy that entire token, go back to your terminal where ClawdBot is waiting for the token, paste it in, and hit enter. ClawdBot will verify the connection, and if everything works, you'll see a success message. Your Telegram bot is now connected to ClawdBot, running ClawdBot for the first time. At this point, the configuration is basically done. ClawdBot will finish setting up and start running. You should see a message saying something like ClawdBot is now running, and it might give you a local URL like http://localhost:18789 for the web dashboard. And it might give you a local URL like http://localhost:18789 for the web dashboard. Now let's test it. Open Telegram and find the bot you just created. It should be in your chat list. Open the chat and send. Think of this next phase like onboarding a new employee. You need to give ClawdBot context about who you are, what you do, and how you work. The more information you provide up front, the better it'll perform. Here's what I recommend you do. Send ClawdBot a message like this. Let's get to know each other so you can assist me better. I'm going to tell you about myself and my work, and then feel free to ask me any questions you have. Then just brain dump. Tell it about your job, your projects, your goals, the tools you use, your preferences, and anything that's relevant to how you work. Here's an example. I'm a content creator who makes YouTube videos about tech and productivity. I use Google Docs for scripts, Notion for project planning, and I'm usually juggling multiple video projects at once. I prefer concise communication and I like having things organized by project. I work best in the mornings. The more specific you get, the better. ClawdBot will take all this information and save it to its memory system. From that point on, every time you interact with it, it'll pull from this context to make sure its responses are relevant to you. Here's the cool part about ClawdBot's memory. It's not just saving raw chat logs. After each conversation, it analyzes what was discussed, extracts the important details, and organizes that information in a structured way. So it's building an actual knowledge base about you every time. You can test this by asking it questions like, what do you know about my work? Or, what are my current projects? And it should be able to tell you based on what you've shared. Setting up 24/7 access with Hostinger. Now here's something most tutorials don't talk about, but it's actually really important if you want ClawdBot to be truly useful. Right now, ClawdBot is running on your local computer. That's great for testing. But the moment you shut down your computer or it goes to sleep, ClawdBot stops running. So if you're away from your computer and you try to message it, you'll get nothing. For a lot of people, this defeats the whole purpose. You want an AI assistant that's always available, right? You want to be able to text it from anywhere and get instant responses. Here's where running ClawdBot on a server makes total sense. Instead of running it on your personal computer, you run it on a virtual private server that's always on, always connected, always accessible. Now, setting up a VPS sounds complicated, but with services like Hostinger, it's actually pretty straightforward. And it's way cheaper than you might think. Hostinger offers VPS hosting starting at just a few dollars a month, and they have plans that are perfect for running something like ClawdBot. The server is always on, it's got a solid internet connection, and you can access it from anywhere. Now here's why this matters. For instance, let's say you're running errands and you get an idea for a project. You pull out your phone and you text ClawdBot. Create a new project document with these ideas and save it to my Google Drive. If ClawdBot is on your home computer that's currently off, nothing happens. But if it's on a Hostinger VPS, it processes your request immediately and has that document ready before you even get home. Setup is pretty simple. You sign up for a Hostinger VPS plan. They give you access to a Linux server, and you install ClawdBot on that server the same way you installed it on your computer. Difference is the server never shuts down. And here's a bonus. Running ClawdBot on a server actually keeps it separate from your personal files. Some people do worry about giving AI access to their computers. With a VPS, you can set up ClawdBot in a contained environment where it only has access to specific folders and tools that you give it permission to use. That's way more secure. I'm not going to do a full VPS setup in this tutorial because that's a whole separate topic. But if you're serious about using ClawdBot as your actual assistant, moving to something like a Hostinger VPS is definitely worth considering. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out their VPS plans. Lesson 5, Web Dashboard and Management. Let's talk about the web dashboard for monitoring ClawdBot without touching config files. If ClawdBot is running, open your browser and go to https://localhost 18789. The dashboard shows your full chat history, bot status, which model it's using, API costs, and all configuration settings in one place. This is useful for several reasons. You can see exactly what ClawdBot has been doing and search through past conversations. You can monitor your API usage and costs to track spending, and you can change settings on the fly. Switch from Sonnet to Opus, connect new messaging platforms, all from the dashboard. The dashboard also shows which skills and integrations are active. Skills are plugins that let ClawdBot interact with specific tools like Notion, Google Docs, or Slack. You can enable or disable skills from here. Depending on what you need. Lesson 6. Real-world tasks and capabilities. All right, ClawdBot is set up and running. Let's move on to what you can actually do with it, because this is where it gets interesting. First is document creation. You can tell ClawdBot to create any type of document and it'll actually generate the file on your computer or in your cloud storage. Try something like create a meeting agenda template in Google Docs, or create a project proposal and save it as a PDF. It'll do it. For research tasks, ClawdBot is incredibly useful. You can say, research the top project management tools for small teams and create a comparison document. And it'll browse the web, gather information, analyze it, and create an organized document for you. That would normally take you an hour. ClawdBot does it in minutes. Email management is another big one. If you connect ClawdBot to your email, you can forward messages to it and say, draft a professional response to this, or summarize this email thread, and pull out the action items. And it can handle that instantly. For content creators like me, ClawdBot is amazing for things like take these bullet points and turn them into a full YouTube script, or generate 5 video title ideas based on this topic. It understands creative workflows and can help speed up the ideation and drafting process. Code and development tasks work really well too. You can tell it, create a simple Python script that organizes my downloads folder by file type, or write a bash script that backs up my documents every day. Even if you're not a developer, you can describe what you want in plain English and ClawdBot will write the code for you. Project management is where the memory system really shines. You can text ClawdBot throughout the day with random ideas, thoughts, and tasks, and it'll automatically categorize and organize everything. So you can say, add this to my content ideas list, or remind me to follow up on this next week, and it handles it. The key is to start simple. Don't try to automate your entire life on day one. Start with 1 or 2 specific tasks that you do regularly. Delegate those to ClawdBot and see how it performs. Once you're comfortable, gradually expand to more complex workflows. Skills and integrations. ClawdBot has a skills marketplace that extends its capabilities with integrations for specific tools. Useful skills include Notion for database management, Google Workspace for Docs and Drive, Slack for team communication, GitHub for code repositories, calendar integrations, and web browsing for research. Add skills through the web dashboard or messaging commands. Message ClawdBot, enable the Notion skill, and it'll walk you through connecting your account. Each skill usually requires API access or authentication. Advanced tips and best practices. Now let me share some tips I've learned that'll help you get the most out of ClawdBot. First, be specific with your requests. Instead of saying, help me with this project, say, create a project timeline for launching a new product. Include milestones for research, development, marketing, and launch. The more detail you provide, the better the output. Second, use templates for recurring tasks. If you have ClawdBot create something you'll need again, save it as a template. Then you can just say, create a new client proposal using the standard template, and it'll replicate that structure. Third, review everything before you use it. ClawdBot is powerful, but it's not perfect. Always check documents, code, or any output before you share it with others or deploy it. Think of it as a very capable assistant that still needs supervision. Fourth, manage your costs by switching models based on the task. Use HiQ for simple questions and quick tasks. Use Sonnet for most general work. Only use Opus when you need really complex reasoning or high-quality creative output. This can cut your costs in half. And lastly, give it feedback. If ClawdBot does something wrong or not quite right, tell it. Say, this output was too formal. I prefer casual language. Or, this research missed some key points. It'll learn from that feedback and adjust its approach. Common issues and troubleshooting. Sometimes your ClawdBot will misbehave. So let's see how we can troubleshoot. If ClawdBot stops responding, check if it's still running on your terminal. If the process stopped, restart it with Openclaw Start. For API errors, verify your API key is correct and have credits available in your Anthropic or OpenAI account. If messages aren't going through on Telegram, verify the bot token is correct. Rerun the setup with Openclaw config to fix connection issues. For weird or incorrect responses, check your model selection in the dashboard matches your task needs. To completely reset, uninstall, and run through installation again. Sometimes starting clean is faster than debugging. Is it worth it? Phew, what a long ride. Now I want to give you my honest take about ClawdBot. Is it worth it? Yes, for the right person. Absolutely yes. If you work on a computer all day, constantly switch between tools or do research, content creation, or project management, ClawdBot can genuinely save hours every week, but it requires setup, learning, and some maintenance. If you want something that works perfectly out of the box with zero effort, this is not it. The biggest value comes from cumulative time savings. Each task might save 5 or 10 minutes. Delegating dozens of tasks weekly adds up to hours back, and the memory system is game-changing. Having an assistant that remembers your conversations and preferences makes interactions faster and more natural. Cost is reasonable compared to hiring an assistant or multiple productivity tools. For most people, $20 to $40 per month is a bargain. My recommendation is try it. Set it up, use it for a week, see if it fits your workflow. If it saves you time, great. If not, you've only invested a few hours and dollars to find out. Closing. And that's everything you need to know to get started with ClawdBot. You've learned what it is, how to install and configure it, how to connect messaging platforms, how to train its memory, what tasks you can delegate, and how to troubleshoot issues. You're ready to set up your own AI assistant. Now here's what I recommend. Pick one specific task you do regularly that takes time but doesn't require creative thinking. Maybe organizing research, creating meeting tools, or drafting emails. Delegate that one task to ClawdBot and see how it performs. Once comfortable, add another task. Build it up gradually. And if you want ClawdBot running 24/7 for anywhere access, check out those Hostinger VPS options I mentioned. An always-on AI assistant is a completely different experience. Thanks for watching. If you've got questions or want to share how you're using ClawdBot, drop a comment down below. If you want more AI automation tutorials, subscribe. All right, I'll see you in the next one.